Hello everyone, welcome to today's shorter sequence class. So we're going to be incorporating moves today into our poses that are going to help to free and open up the joints a little bit more. So that'll be our shoulders, our knees and our hips. So just grab whatever you need for the practice. We don't need a belt today, but if you've got a blanket or if you've got a block, we can use that. And then when you're ready, just come all the way down to a seated position, the lying down position, down to the floor. And choosing whether you want the legs bent or allowing the legs to lengthen. And just take a few moments to let the eyes close or a soft gaze. Now you might like to just take your hands onto the front of the body, so just slightly below the navel area. Let your fingers just spread, middle finger forwards. And just take a few moments, and as you breathe, thinking about your hands and thinking about the movement of your breath in the hands. And keeping everything else nice and relaxed, so chest and shoulders nice and relaxed. So feeling, tuning in to that gentle rise and fall of the belly. Feeling the breath just gently moving in and out through the nose. And feeling the space of the breath as it starts to maybe move a bit more into the body. Just a couple more really nice breaths from here. And then slowly release, let the arms, let the legs lengthen, and just have a really nice stretch from here. And just let your toes spread, let your heels press away from you. And then stretching into your left arm, and you can allow yourself to press out a little bit more with your left foot. And then swapping over, so your right arm and your right foot. And then just going from side to side, feeling this really nice stretch across the shoulders and maybe around the outside of the hips as we just gently move from side to side. And then slowly release, let the arms come down by the sides of the body. Let your legs bend and hug your knees in towards the chest, having a gentle rock from side to side from here. Just allow yourself to take the hands behind the back of the legs, and we'll take a nice inhale, allowing the legs to lengthen, toes spread down towards you, and then breathing out, hands around the shins. As you draw your knees towards you, you lift your head if it feels okay. And we'll continue to do that. So inhale, hands behind the legs as we lengthen out. And then breathing out, holding around your shins, maybe lifting the head up if it feels okay. Just a couple more. Use your inhale to lengthen up, toes spread. And then breathing out, knees in towards you, lifting the head. Last one, inhale to lengthen. And exhale, bending the knees, lifting up the head. And then slowly allow yourself to release the legs. Take your feet nice and wide as your mat. Reach the arms out to either a T-shape or cactus arms. And let your knees drop to the right and head slowly turns towards the left. And use your inhale to bring you back to the centre and breathing out to the opposite side. And just start to slowly work from side to side. And you might like to just take a bit of focus into the hips and feel that you're waking up the hips. You're waking up that area around your lower back from here. And you're working mindfully with your breath. So the next time the knees drop over to the right side, we're going to hold it here. If it works, lift up your right leg and take it across the front of your left thigh. So you deepen the stretch across that left side and that left hip. Just pause for a moment. And then slowly release, bring your head back, release the feet, come back to the centre. Feet are still nice and wide, and we drop your knees over towards the left side. So nice wider legged supine twist from here. And then allow yourself to lift up your left foot if it works. Take it across the thighs. You get a really nice stretch, maybe across the front of that right thigh and across that right hip. Waking up gently the hips and the muscles that are around there. And then slowly come back to the centre. Release the feet, knees back from here. You're going to take the soles of the feet together and drop in your knees out to the side. And let your thumbs cross, and for a moment let your arms lift behind you. And just gently reaching out with the fingers. You're getting a nice stretch across the front of the body. And then slowly release your thumbs. Let the arms come down by the sides of the body. So we're going to work into our alternate bridge pose with our soles of the feet together in this. If it doesn't work, let your feet come to the floor, let your knees go up to the sky, and you can instead do a traditional bridge. So arms down by the sides of the body. You're going to inhale slowly, lift your hips up, spine lifts away. And as you breathe out slowly, let your spine come down to the floor. So inhale, pressing into the feet as your hips lift. And then breathing out, slowly releasing down. This time we're going to slowly lift up. We're going to hold it lifted. And then inhale, as you breathe out, taking a slight tilt towards the right side. And then inhale, come back to the centre. And breathing out, slight tilt towards that left side. Coming back to the centre, tilt the pelvis forward. And slowly coming back down to the floor. Hug the knees in towards the chest. And just take a moment, moving the knees about just backwards and forwards, and maybe side and opening them out just to get a really nice release around your hips area. And hopefully it feels really good on your back of the body to do so. And then rolling over onto the right side of the body, and then coming all the way up into a nice seated position. So crossed legs from here and just sitting up nice and tall, shoulders nice and relaxed. And we're going to start to just take the hands forwards from here, and we'll do a nice movement, moving from side to side as we start to walk forward with the hands. So it really feels that you get into your hips, easing into the hips. And then when you can't go anymore, you can just pause from here, take a few nice breaths. And then lifting up the head, we're going to slowly walk your hands over towards the right side. And then just let the head release, pause again. Coming back to the centre, walking back with the hands. And then start to slowly walk your hands over towards that left side. Let the head release. And then coming back, lift the head, coming all the way back to the centre. You're going to release the legs, let the legs release and bend from here. Allow yourself just to fold over the legs for a moment. Or if it works, you can allow yourself to lift the legs and hug the knees for a little bit of balance point in towards you. Take a few nice breaths from here. And then slowly release. Drop the knees to one side and then coming back to the all fours. So we've warmed up the hips. We're going to get a little bit into the shoulders now. Just first of all, just a few of our nice cat stretches. So inhale, lift the front of the body, lifting the head. You can gaze up if it feels good. And then as you breathe out, rounding over, gazing back through the legs. We'll take a nice inhale to lift from here. And then breathing out, rounding over, gazing back through the legs. One more time, inhale to lift up. And exhale, rounding over from here. You're going to come back to the all fours. You're going to inhale as you breathe out, dropping your right shoulder towards your right hip, moving them together. Coming back to the centre on the inhale as you breathe out, left shoulder moves towards the left hip. Coming back to the centre, we'll do one more, over towards the right side. Inhale back to the centre and one more over towards that left side. and then back to the centre. Tuck your toes under, lifting up and coming back into a downward dog position. Bringing some weight back towards the heels. You're going to lift your left leg from here. You can do it on your knees and your forearms. You're going to allow yourself to bend your right leg and drop your knee open towards that. Open up the sides. So you're gazing maybe underneath that right arm or head to the centre. If it feels good, draw in some circles with your knee while you're here. And circling out in the other direction. And then coming back with the knee to the centre, lengthen the leg. Coming back to the floor with the hands and the knees, release the feet. Move your hands forward and slowly lower all the way back down to the floor. Hands either ready for Sphinx pose or hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to slowly start to lift up, maybe through a baby cobra first. Then if it feels good, lifting up into a full cobra. Stay in there, nice few breaths. And then slowly lower all the way back down. You're going to reach the arms behind you. And we're going to work into our locust pose. So lifting head, lift the chest, lift the arms if it's okay. Lifting the legs, and you can reach back and have a nice stretch from here. If it works, you might be able to interlock the fingers and roll your shoulders back and get a really nice release into your shoulders today. And then coming all the way down, hands underneath your shoulders, pressing back to the all fours, sinking back into child's pose for a few breaths. And then coming back into the all fours, tucking the toes under, lifting up into downward dog. This time we'll lift your left leg into 3-leg downward dog. And we'll bend that left knee. And we might be able to open that knee out towards that left side. And then you're going to just draw some circles with your knees. And then circling in the other direction. So creating a bit of extra space in your hips. Coming back to the centre. Take the foot back down. You're going to bring yourself back to your hands and the knees. Release the feet. Hands forward of the shoulders. And then we'll lower all the way back down to the floor. Second round of either our cobra or our sphinx. So press the hands down. You're going to slowly start to lift up. You might be in your baby cobra, or you might be lengthening a bit more. To get a nice release on the neck, you're going to slowly just turn your gaze so you look over towards that right side or your right foot. And then inhale, come back to the centre. As you breathe out, gazing over towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre. Hands come down, we're pressing up. Going to tuck the toes under and lifting up into your downward dog pose. So if it works from here, you're going to come up onto the toes, swivel the feet out and drop your heels over towards the right, and you can bend your left leg a little bit more. And then come back to the centre. You sway your feet out towards that left side. And you can keep the right leg nice and bent this time. So just carefully going over towards that right side again. And then back to the centre, and then back over towards that left side. And then back to the centre, come back to your hands and the knees. We're going to sink back into child's pose. We're going to do a nice movement with the arms. So with your right arm, you're going to start to reach it back. And as you inhale, you're going to sweep that arm forward. And as you breathe out, reaching that arm back into your child's pose. So as you inhale, sweep your arm forward, breathing out, bringing your hands back. Do it a couple more times. Inhale, so we're working a nice range of movement in the arms. Breathing out, coming forward. Next time that the arm stays lifted, just pause there for a moment. And then slowly releasing back from here. Going to come back to the all fours. We'll do the same on the other side. So come back to child's pose, and as you inhale, left arm lifts. We start to come forward with the hands, and as you breathe out, you draw it back. So as you inhale, we lift up to come forward, and as you breathe out, drawing it back. So a few more. Inhale to lift, exhale to draw it back. Inhale to lift. Exhale to draw back, and we'll stay in child's pose for a few breaths. Come back to the all fours, tucking the toes under, lifting up the knees, coming back into your downward dog pose. You're going to slowly bring yourself back to the knees, and you can step your right foot forwards into a lunge position or bringing yourself to a warrior position if that feels better. Take a moment to maybe pad your back knee if you need to. You're going to slowly start to lift up from here. If it feels an option, lifting up the arms, you might sink a little bit lower. Great for the hips. It's really good for releasing from here. A few nice breaths. And then breathing out, slowly releasing. Hands can come back, knees can come back. And then we'll step forward with your left leg. You can come to a lunge position first of all, or your warrior position. And then we'll lift up from here. It's an option. You can sweep the arms up. You can sink a little bit lower if that does feel good. Just stay there, nice, long, slow breaths. And then breathing out, slowly releasing. Let your knees come back from here. You're going to tuck the toes under. Press back into downward dog. And then slowly walking the feet forward. Bringing your hands to the hips and slowly lift to come all the way to standing from here. So you're going to separate the feet slightly. You're going to reach the arms out, have a nice stretch up from here. You're going to take your right hand down and your left arm over, drawing in your navel as you come to a nice stretch. And then coming back to the centre. And then as you breathe out, over towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre. If it works, hands on the hips, you can take your left foot and you can step it behind your right foot if that works. And then we'll lift up from here. And if it feels good, we take a really nice side bend stretch towards that right side from here. Nice long slow breaths. Coming back to the centre, releasing the arms and coming back. We'll take your left leg behind this time and then we'll reach up, have a nice stretch up. If it was an option, you could take hold of right hand, left hand takes hold of left wrist. You have a nice stretch from here to that opposite side. And then coming back to the centre, slowly release the hands. You give the legs a shake out from here. If it feels good, we're going to start to come into a balance. So we're going to lift up your right leg. You're going to open out that knee and then bringing it back down. So we're going to create a nice few circles with that foot. You can keep it lower down if that felt a better option. And then circling in that other direction just to create a really nice bit of space from here. And then bringing your foot back down to the floor. It's going to be your left leg this time lifts, opens out as you start to create a nice movement with your legs from here. And then circling in that other direction. And then coming all the way back to the centre. Going to open out our legs from here into a warrior position. Your right foot's going to draw out your left foot's forward. You're going to raise the arms. You're going to inhale, and as you breathe out, bending into your right leg. You're going to take your left hand onto the hip, right hand onto the thigh, and your left hand onto the hip as you revolve open that shoulder. Then lifting up that arm, inhale, and as you breathe out, it's going to start to lower, and as you inhale, lifting up. So use your out breath as you start to lower, and as you inhale, lifting up. Last one, breathing out as you lower, and inhale to lift. If it works, you can take the arm up and above. You can press into that foot, draw into the navel as you reach out the arm. And then taking hands to the hips, lengthening, lifting the leg, coming back to the front. So we'll open out into that left side with your right foot forward, arms raised for your warrior. Inhale, and as you breathe out, you're going to bend into the left leg, pressing back with that back foot warrior. You're going to bend your left arm, resting it on the thigh, and your right arm starts to lift. So as you breathe out, you can gaze down towards that foot as you bring the arm forward. And as you inhale, lifting up the arm. As you breathe out, start to slowly release that arm, and as you inhale, use it to let you lift. Do one more breathing out, and then inhale to lift. We can keep it lifted, or if it feels good, you can take that arm up and over. You might gaze down from here or just stand exactly where you are. Just stay there, a couple more breaths. And then using your arms, drawing to the navel, lifting up, coming all the way back to the front. Hands on the hips, big feet forward or big toes in slightly. And we'll start to slowly hinge forward from here. Take your hands onto the elbows and take in a nice releasing sway from side to side. So easing out any tension, any tightness. Great for the shoulders and the lower back and your hips. Take the hands down to the floor for a few breaths. Hands on the hips, lifting up, and we come all the way to standing. Swivel your feet in a little bit and turn your feet out from here. So we're going to come into a nice squat position. Just bring some weight in towards your feet so you feel nice and strong from here. Just work a little bit of a nice twisting movement from here. So hands can rest on the thighs. You're going to start to slowly draw the navel in as you lengthen that arm and you start to twist towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre as you breathe out, we lengthen your left arm as we bend the right one and finding a twist. Back to the centre, inhale as you breathe out, twisting towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre, over towards that right side. We'll do one more back to the centre and a nice breath out as we twist towards that left side. And then coming back to the centre, hands on the hips, lifting up, feet to the front, and heel toe the feet, returning back to the front of the mat. Take a nice inhale, lifting up, you can gaze up if it's appropriate. And then breathing out, releasing, folding forward. If it feels okay, you're going to interlock the hands behind you and inhale, lifting up halfway. And then exhale, soften and release, allowing your head to be heavy. Arms can release up and over. Just holding it there a few breaths. And then releasing the hands, bending the legs, taking the hands to the floor. And then coming back to a seated position from here. So a couple of options for the next one. So if it did work for you, you've got an option to come to a seated position position like this. So you'd have your right leg is pointing behind and your left leg is forward and your foot touches the front of the thigh there, and you can pad or anything if you need. If this doesn't work, then you're going to allow yourself to come to that position. So choosing something that works for you. Good, really nice. And then we're just going to work into a nice side bend stretch. You can take your left arm out to the side. Right arm lifts, and as you breathe out, taking that arm up and over. And then coming back to the centre. Go over towards that opposite side. Having a really nice stretch. It's really good for your spine from here. And then coming back to the centre. If it works, you're going to take your left hand. So the left hand is going to come out to the side. You can take the hands behind you and then lifting up. So we start to lift that hips, and if it feels good, the arm lifts and the arm comes up and over. So you can still do it if you're doing that one from here. That'll still be the same one, or you don't even need to lift. You can just use your arms to lift up from here. Nice long, slow breaths. And then slowly coming back, and we'll release the legs and we'll swap over from here. So it's going to be your left leg this time, and your right leg and your left leg might bend, or you're coming into your stretch from here. Lovely. So you're going to sit up nice and tall. We'll come into a nice side bend stretch, taking that arm up and over. It's really good for stretching into the side of the body. And then coming back to the centre, inhale, and as we breathe out, taking a side bend stretch towards that opposite side. And coming back to the centre. This time it can be your right hand is going to take behind and you can lift up. If it feels good, lift up, send your hips forward. You can raise the arm. You can take that arm up and over if it works. And then nice and slowly coming all the way back from here. Slowly release the legs very carefully. And then just rolling yourself down to the floor. Let your knees hug in towards the chest, taking a gentle rock from side to side. Hands can go to the knees and we'll open up the knees for a few nice releasing movements for your hips, that final release. And then in the other direction from here, nice opening movement. And then taking the legs down to the floor for a final bridge. So feet are to the floor, arms down by the sides of the body. And slowly just start to lift up. I'm just going to hold it just for a couple of breaths first of all. So checking out the posture and how it feels. And then tilting the pelvis forward as you breathe out, slowly releasing down. As you inhale, slowly lifting up for your second round. So you've got the option of rolling up onto the tops of the shoulders if it works and clasping your hands from here, pressing the arms down, or the arms can come down by the sides of the body. Just stay there, nice long, slow breaths. And then slowly release the arms, come back to the shoulders, rolling down to the floor. Now hug your right knee in towards the chest, extend out with your left leg. Just pause for a moment. Then you're going to place that onto the top of your left leg. It can be on the knee. And your left hand's going to come to the outside of that leg. Your right arm's going to come out to the side. We're going to slowly twist towards that left side. And maybe the head starts to turn towards the right side. Just feel that really nice release in your back from that position. And then back to the centre. Slowly release. Let the leg lengthen. You're going to hug your left knee in towards the chest. Take a moment just to encourage that hip to relax. And then we can take that foot onto the knee from here. Right hand onto the outside of the leg. Your left arm out to the side or cactus arms. And we'll encourage that knee to move across the body. Maybe your head starts to slowly turn towards that left side. Just pause there, nice long slow breath. And then slowly come back with the head and your knees. Bend the knees. Final hug in with your knees to the chest. Separate the knees. Separate your feet. So you've got a nice release. And then slowly let your hands come down. Bring your legs down to the floor. And take your hands back to the belly where we started off. And just let yourself slowly focus again on your breath. Nice long, slow breath. And then give up the need to control the breath right now. Let the breath simply just be as it is. And feel that movement of the breath. Just breathe in the body. That gentle rise and fall of the breath. Feeling again how the attention just slowly starts to move inwards. So you can stay as long as you like, just let the body relax as long as you like. Or start to slowly move the fingers, the toes, rolling over onto the right side of the body. And slowly come back into an easy seated position. Just take the hands out by the sides of the body. I'm going to do 3 breaths from here. So palms lift as you inhale, raise the arms above the head. And as you breathe out, turn the palms, let the fingers come down by the sides of the body. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, bring the arms down by the sides of the body. Last one, inhale to lift. This time, palms stay together as we breathe out, hands in towards the heart centre. Let your head bow down towards the hands and let the eyes slowly blink open. And as you inhale, lift your head, lift your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully speak to you soon.